Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Million Dollar Media. I'm your host, Max Keller-Halls, and today it's going to be a quick episode. I only got two topics, but we're going to try to get this done pretty quick. Topic off, right off the bat, the first topic we have is the Elvis trailer. This is the new Baz Luhrmann movie, the same guy who did Romeo and Juliet, the one that was on our worst of Valentine's Day special. He also directed The Great Gatsby. He directed Moulin Rouge, and he has this really eccentric style. So I'm not the biggest Baz Luhrmann fan, so going to this trailer, I wasn't expecting much. But when I got out of it, I really liked what I saw, and I was really impressed by the overall story, the story they seem to be taking with this, where they show Elvis, his roots in gospel music. I thought that was really cool. I think the guy they got to play Elvis, Austin Butler, looks so good as Elvis, and apparently he is singing the songs. They're not pre-recorded tracks. They are actually singing the songs, so it is going to... I'm just more impressed by how well this kid performs and just all the mannerisms he has. It was just so breathtaking to watch. Also, I was really impressed about the fact that Tom Hanks is in this movie playing a character by the name of Colonel Tom Parker, who's apparently was Elvis's manager and the guy that basically put Elvis on the map. And it seems to be they have this budding relationship where it's kind of a weird manager-artist relationship. And yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this movie. The trailer really won me over, and I hope that it's good and not just another weird Baz Luhrmann eccentricities kind of thing where it's just a bunch of weird colors, flashing lights, pop music that makes no sense for the time. But it looks from what I've seen in this trailer, it seems to be focusing on what Elvis meant during that time, because he was a trailblazer for a reason. Now, some people have a problem with that he kind of took a lot of his inspiration from gospel and black culture. So I found it really interesting that in the trailer they actually brought that up, and they basically said this is what the movie's going to be about. It's going to be Elvis through and through, and what his inspirations were and what came about it. And they actually call him out about hey, you're just a white guy taking over some other people's culture, and it's just really interesting. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing this movie. I know my mom's gonna love it because she loves Elvis anything, so I'm really curious to see. It'll probably be a good movie to take your parents to, or something like that, where you just have a good time listening to Elvis music and seeing a weird version of the Elvis story. Alright, moving on to our main topic and main review of the day, we're going to be talking about Peacemaker. The finale just dropped yesterday, and I love this show. I at first thought that this wasn't going to be all that special, because I don't know anything about Peacemaker. The first time I really got introduced to him was in The Suicide Squad, and when I heard that he was going to get his own TV show, I was like, okay, there's so many other characters we can use, but Peacemaker, fine. James Gunn is going to write and direct some episodes. That's awesome. Oh my god, this show won me over on just how much heart, humor, and just badassness are in this show. So what Peacemaker is about this superhero, quote-unquote, Peacemaker. Right after the Suicide Squad, he just got out of the hospital. He gets recruited by this even shadier group of government people under Task Force X, or Amanda Waller, and they are tasked to basically stop the incoming threat of a alien invasion called the Butterflies. Yes, it is a stupid name for an alien race, but it is kind of funny, and it also is a really creepy concept of what you find out about these butterflies. Yeah, that's basically the plot I want to say right now. If there's anything else I could say is that there is a subplot throughout the show where we meet Peacemaker's dad, who is a piece of shit. Like, he's a huge racist. He's such a racist that he's actually a white supremacist. And not only that, he's a white supremacist supervillain called the White Dragon. So it's this weird, complicated relationship between the two of them where the dad is so disappointed by the son, even though the son is John Cena, pretty much. But damn if he tries. Peacemaker always tries to impress his dad, and yeah, that's probably the one thing I really liked about this show is just that relationship really like worked for me. And just how both characters were represented. Like, there's something really, like, interesting about this. I've never seen in a show where it went to this point where a dad, or I should say, a son, is trying to impress his father so much, but his father is such a piece of shit. Like, he is so evil. He says some of the most racist, homophobic stuff in this show. And it's not for laughs, it's just because he's just a piece of shit. It's more just to show how evil and menacing this guy really is. And Peacemaker is just trying to impress him, but he's not like his dad. He's not like left-wing or anything like that. He's just he's just ignorant to a lot of things that are going on in the world, like a lot of progressive stuff. So it's really funny to see him like mess up. I should be saying Peacemaker mess up, not his dad, but Peacemaker trying to like get with the times and be more socially conscious. It's really funny on that level. John Cena steals the show. This is probably the best role John Cena has ever played. And I don't want to hear any of that bullshit, oh, he's invisible talk. No, he was shown on screen and I loved it. I so much loved this show. It was just so much fun from beginning to end. I think episode 4 was my favorite just because it was the first episode to like really get into a bunch of the characters' heads, especially a character in the show called Vigilante, who is played by an actor named Freddie Stroma, who I think is in Bridgerton, but I'm not sure. So if any of you are fans of Bridgerton, there's a white guy on that show who is in Peacemaker, and he is the funniest thing about this show. It basically plays up the idea of just like an average guy becoming basically a vigilante, but they play it like he's legit insane, but he just doesn't know it. So he's kind of got this like psychotic thing where he really doesn't understand human emotion, but he really tries to, and like, oh, he wants to be best friends with everybody. He wants to be best friends with Peacemaker. He wants to be a good superhero. He has this really hard line edge against criminals, where like he has a line where he talks about like, oh, he'll kill murderers, drug dealers, and then he goes all the way down to graffiti artists, and that's the moment you realize, oh no, this guy's legit insane. So, but there's also a moment with this character where he confronts a bunch of racists in a prison, and it's the best dialogue I have ever seen for an insane character just trying to trigger these racists by, oh, it's so hilarious. It is. Freddie Stroma stole the show whenever he was on screen. And the best thing about it is that, unlike most side characters that are only there for comedy, he actually is effective at what he does. Like, cast aside all like the human stuff, like the like emotions and everything like that, he is just a really good killer. So that's why he's on this team, and they actually show it, and it makes sense why he's there. It's not just forced in there to be a funny guy. I thought it to be really natural, like, oh no, they would accept someone like this on the team because he's just really good at what he does. Another standout for the show for me was pretty much all like the Task Force X, like behind the scenes people that were in the Suicide Squad being pushed to the front here with I thought Danielle Brooks as I think her name is Danielle or something out of bio. I thought she was really good. I liked her relationship, and also I don't want to spoil anything. I was actually shocked by who she is related to in this show, in like the greater DC universe. And yes, this is a DC show, so you're gonna get a lot of references to Batman, Superman, Aquaman. There's a really funny ongoing joke that has a great payoff about Aquaman and fish. I don't want to say any more because I don't want to ruin anything. Yeah, Danielle Brooks just killed it in this show. I thought it was my first time seeing her in something, and I really want to see more of this actress in other things. One of my favorite characters that's not in the show that much as I would love to be is this character named Clemson Murd, played by Chudwudi Iwuji. It's a Kenyan name. I'm sorry if I mispronounce it, but I really like his character, and just like the entire time he's trying to keep this team of people from just collapsing in on itself. He's just getting frustrated. He's just like, oh God, what are we doing? And he also has a very interesting discovery throughout the show, or I should say twist, that I was not expecting going into this show, or at least for the first 3 episodes, but I like what they did with this character, and it was just really interesting on what they did. And it's also like not a character from the comics, it was completely brand new, so I thought it was still cool on that level as well. Other standouts for me was Steve Agee, who is this big guy who works on the team. He's the tech support guy. I thought he was really funny. Robert Patrick as the dad, awesome. There's a villain, the quote-unquote villain of the show, played by Annie Chang. She was really cool. I haven't seen her in a lot of things, so this was my first time seeing her in a show, so I thought she really brought it, and she basically has 2 different roles in this show, and I thought both roles were done really well. And the playing a detective and then ultimately playing the villain. I thought that was really cool. This show also has some of the funniest scenes of dialogue that I've ever heard. Just people having some fun improving, some funny one-liners, some good jabs at other people. I will also say the humor in the show is very dark at some points and likes to make fun of things. Like they have a ongoing joke in the second episode about Louis C.K. that I thought was really funny, and they basically drive that joke so far, and it just becomes so funny after a while. There's also a hilarious meme that came out of the show where there's a moment where John Cena's Peacemaker starts to name off, I think, in total 50 celebrities in one sitting, and I thought that was really funny. And if you watch the behind the scenes or like the blooper reel they have at the end of the episode, he just went on and on and on with more celebrities, and it was just so funny. Yeah, I highly recommend, if you have an HBO Max, check this show out. It may not be for everybody, but for me, I thought it was just a really fun show that had a lot of heart. And yeah, that's the thing about the show. It just has a lot of heart, and there's moments in the show where I damn near cried because the characters are so well fleshed out, and the moments are so well fleshed out. The writing from James Gunn, the directing from James Gunn is so good in this show. It really shows how if you have a director and writer who has a clear vision for what they want to tell, it will turn out good, no matter what. No matter how much money, no matter what the character is, no matter if you even care about the character, it's going to turn out well if you have someone committed to the ideas that they're bringing forth. So yeah, Peacemaker. If I were to give it like a rating out of 10, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. I really like this show. I think there's some moments of like jokes that don't really land for me just because it's not my sense of humor, and it may have been out of place, but I thought the show was so good on so many other levels. Acting, writing, directing, everything. I've just got to give this I just got to give this show a big round of applause for just how well it turned out. Okay, so that's it for today on Million Dollar Media. Not much really came out this week in the world of news, so I'm just going to end it off early. So if you are listening to Wave Radio, please keep listening to more shows on Wave Radio. If you're listening to this on my YouTube channel, please like, subscribe, and share, and I hope you all have a good day.